that, how do we wind up being human? For a while, people were immensely excited when the human genome was first being sequenced, and then it was clear within a decade people will have sequenced the genome for chimps and bonobos and gorillas. Everyone's saying, oh my God, that's where you're going to find the explanation. It had been known for decades. Humans and chimps share about 98% of our DNA. And finally, when the chimp genome was sequenced, it was possible to finally compare, so what is that 2% difference? There's going to be such interesting genes, and they're all related to brain function. And people went and looked, and almost none of them were related to the brain. Half of the genetic differences between a human and a chimp has to do with olfactory receptors. Chimps have them. We've inactivated the genes for them. Like half of the remaining genes that differ are for about like body hair or things about immune specificity or stuff. Where are the genes that differ between humans and chimps that have to do with the brain? And what's incredibly fascinating is there's very, very few of them. But what they do makes perfect sense. The genes that differ are related to how many rounds of cell division goes on in the fetal brain in a human fetus versus a chimp fetus. And the versions of the genes are ones so that the human fetal brain goes through about 3 or 4 times more cell divisions. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. You do that, and what you've just done is the way to turn a chimp into a human is just have their brain divide 3 or 4 more times. And if you have enough chimp neurons, we now call it a human brain. If we have 8 times as many chimp neurons, you invent a human brain with consciousness and aesthetics and theology and politics and all of that. What it tells us is it's an emergent property. Marx had this wonderful quote, with enough quantity, you invent quality. And that's exactly the case. More is different. You throw enough chimp neurons, if you could make a chimp brain 8 times as many neurons as they have currently, that chimp would be inventing religions and economic systems and all of that. They might be different economic systems than we've come up with, but all there is about the human brain is sheer quantity. And with enough quantity, all sorts of interesting qualities start emerging.